Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the CJ22, this really slick little plane that reminds me an awful lot of an A37 or a T37, but it's actually an Italian build airplane which was supposed to fill a very similar purpose from what I could look up about it. So let's go ahead and try this sucker out. So popping inside this thing, I immediately look around going, oh, okay, this is a little, it's fairly well appointed. I mean, the equipment and all the handles and things like that are sort of in places where you kind of would hope that they would be. I mean, like how I got the little oxygen thing directly behind your head here. Looking directly ahead of me, I've got ancient instruments, which I love that. I wouldn't want anything less than ancient instruments. Picking down the middle, you got to love this. Some of the graphics modeling over here, it looks kind of like something... I don't know, almost like an old photograph or something that you might have grabbed from like Flight Simulator 10. I don't know. I don't know. Something about that. I just can't quite put my finger on. Like, just maybe this like little blurriness. Might just be the light, the way that it's hitting it too. Let's go double check to make sure I got enough gas, which 1 gallon looks good. Okay, how do we start this thing? Let's see. First of all, let's take a look at the circuit breakers. Those do not seem to be active, so I'm not going to worry about it. Take a look down here. Make sure there's no fuel switches. Looks like we have a heat switch. Okay, it's good to have. Speed brakes, windscreen defrost, useful. There's a throttle. Do I have to click it? Nope, it's not one of those. What's this? Test mode, motor mode, stop engine. Okay, so we have a couple fuel switches. Let's see. Okay, why would you put that switch there? So I guess we'll turn the generators on. We'll go ahead and pop the bat. Oh, there we go. And we got all these angry lights come on. I'm guessing, I'm just looking real quick. I'm getting an awful lot of warnings here. So I'm not seeing anything over here, although apparently I've got fuel on board. I love these old school needles. It's so cool. Okie dokie, let's try that. And let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay, cool. I guess it's an electric start. Click, click. And let's see what happens. I really hope you don't have to push the throttle for it or something. I believe it caught. I'm noticing oil pressure coming up. Exhaust gas temperature is kind of low here. Fuel pressure is it's in bar. Nice. I love it. And we have a couple little fuel. We've already sucked a little tiny down. That's not too bad. What's this? Altitude alert? Yeah, I'll turn that on. Why not? Is this one of those old school styles that you have to like set the button on? And you have to like click it and then you can set it? Let's see. How's this one done? Oh, go ahead. Oh, it's one of those. Oh, that's different. That's old school. I noticed all my generator lights just popped out also. I like how you can push to test. All right. Avionics. No. Is it one of those? Hold on. Okay. Oh, there we go. It's one of those. Gotcha. Just like the real one, you probably have to crank onto it there. Cool. I see I have my auto panel right there. This is a problem. Nope, that's going to be for this. Oh, here we go. Probably should turn on position lights too. All right, so initial comments. This interior is different. I feel like I'm in a sports car, and like the cool thing is I'm looking at this dude here. I'm like below his neck here, so you know this is not a very big plane. So I'm waiting for my attitude indicator to kind of catch up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke around on the good old-fashioned World Wide Web here and see if I can discover any VOR stations near us. We're basically Mount Vesuvius is just a little bit to the south of us, so we're probably going to try to head out that way. So let's go ahead and do a little quick research here. Go pop over to the good old Sky Vector-roo. It's always a great choice. You can always see the last thing I was working on. And we're right down in here. So let's see here. Any VORs or anything that we can take advantage of. We've got that one. That's a little bit further up. This is Roma. We're a little bit further south than that. Let's see. There's got to be one of them around here, and I'm just being blind. Oh, here we go. 112.2. All right, we'll give that a try. Pop back over to Flight Sim real quick. 112.2. Let's go. Oh, look at how old school this is. I love it. 112.2. We might be a little far away to pick it up, but we'll have to see. Oh, would you look at that? Somebody go ahead and crank on this radial here. Oh, look at how school. That's so old school. I love that. Somebody go ahead and spin this thing around. Like I said, it should be roughly to the south of us. I think I overdid it just a tiny bit here. That looks good. All right, we've got a destination. Let's give this thing a spin. Go ahead and release the parking brake. I'm going to give it just a little bit of gas. Jets, generally, you just kind of give them a nudge and off they go. You don't really have to hit it hard. Okay, this is a little weird. It takes a little bit of throw. Oh my gosh, I feel like I have to thread a needle here. Let's go ahead and pop outside for a second and kind of see where I'm going. I'm going to take my first left. I'm not sure. I've not read through the POH on this thing at all, so I'm basically making it up as I go. But again, it's all about impressions. I'm going to go ahead and pop down one click of flaps there. I pushed the flap button. I actually don't know where the flap button is. Oh, is it one of the old-fashioned kinds? Hang on. I'm not saying it's bad because it's old-fashioned. I'm just saying it's an old-fashioned style. So we have a thing to deploy flaps, but we don't have, I can't press and hold on it. Interesting. Is it one of those where you press and hold it? Yeah, see how the flap is descending? You have to press and hold. Oh man, that is old school. So we're going to use our old technique to go ahead and make sure that those are set correctly. I'm going to dip this like this, and I'm just going to hold the flaps down until they're about at the same position, which apparently is pretty significantly low. Either that or those ailerons are just like cranking. Yikes. All right, we're going to do the best we can with what we have here. Give it just a little bit of gas. Like these old ancient engines, it takes a little while to get them rolling. Speaking of which, look at those rudder pedals. They're so cute. I love it. All right, we're going to go taxi our way over here. Definitely responsive on the ground. It looks like it's got pretty good nose wheel steering. I'm not having to work out or anything here. But this thing definitely wants to kind of slow down every time you pull the throttle back, which I know, friction. But it really, really, really wants to slow down. But that's all right. Okay, we'll go ahead and line ourselves up at the end of the runway here. And then we'll go ahead and get ripping down there and have a good time at the other side. Give everything a quick push. That feels pretty good. Slow down. Oh, I believe not many of these were actually made either, which is kind of a shame. Because I love the sports car interior of this thing. It's just kind of neat. All right, line ourselves up with the runway. I'm going to go ahead and push the throttle all the way forward. I'm assuming this is an aircraft we can do that. I don't actually know. Fingers crossed. I'm at 103%. Either that, I'm at 4%. I'm not sure which one. I'm looking to my right and just looking at my temperature gauges. I have no idea what the rotation speed on this thing is. I'm just kind of feeling it out. And we are definitely in the yellow there. Let's see, I'm guessing if it's anything like a Tweety, we get about 90 knots, and we can lift that nose up. All right, nose up. And we are airborne. Flaps up. Gear up. Oh, there's a flap indicator. I see it now. Cool. Let's go ahead and reduce the throttle just a teeny tiny bit to get us outside of that red zone here. Like I said, I'm sure this aircraft is not intended to be operated at full throttle for any real length of time here. There we go. Or at least we're at 100% rather than 101%. All right, we get a beautiful look at Italy. I've flown down here. I've actually been into this region. I've been on that highway that's right there on my left, which I think is actually pretty cool. We can go visit the Cameo factory if you're looking for like a nice little keepsake for the ride home today. And we're just here, like I said, kind of experiment with the aircraft, see what it's all about. One thing I'm noticing pretty much right away is it has a strange stiffness to it. I felt this before. Those of you who have flown like the Piper from, I should say, the Italia G91, which I think, I'm not going to guess what developer was, it had a very similar thing where it isn't linear. Like, if you look where my stick is, if I pull back, see how it suddenly gets like an unusual, like almost like a logarithm. See it right there? It has that does not feel right. I don't know if it's the aircraft itself that does it, but I have experienced that in other aircraft. I believe there's a Piper 28 as well that has a very, very similar kind of thing where you pull it and it gets this weird, like, non-linear stiffness to it. Yeah, like that. I'm not sure what that's about. That just might be the aircraft itself, so I'm not going to guess. It's almost like somebody's trying to, like I'm whipping my control back and forth. Do you see it? See that? You can watch that. It goes slow, and then it suddenly spikes in speed. It's like I have no curves or anything on here, and I wonder what's causing that to happen. But it is. Yep. See it? I'm not doing that. It's doing that. Anyway, enough complaining. So that's one thing I'm impressing. I'm impressing. If you want to think about it that way. Sound effect wise. Kind of like a rushing noise. It's a relatively simple sound effect, but knowing what generation this aircraft is does not surprise me in the slightest. That's basically what it would sound like. Swinging over this way, just kind of getting a feel for it. We'll go and see if we can track that radial safely. You can see that island sitting there and basically waiting for us to come by. Bring that around just a little bit. Climb performance-wise, right now we're sitting here about 4,000 feet per minute at 150 knots, which is probably just a bit fast. I don't think we can sustain that. So let's let the nose come down to about 7.5 degrees. And that looks good right there. Perfect. So that should get us a pretty decent climb. And we're climbing at about 2,000 feet per minute. Again, I'm at 100% power here. I'm not jamming up it nearly as hard as I was a few moments ago. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other cool things here. I'm looking, like I said, relatively straightforward HSI. I do not see an NDB anywhere, which kind of surprises me. I noticed we have another one of these over on this side. We have the altitude alerter, which of course is a honking at me. Oh, Collins DME. Nice. Look at how ancient this thing is. I love stuff like this. These old ancient digital displays where you can actually see the little light bulb, like right where my mouse is. Oh, I love stuff like that. One of the fun things, too, is this little switch on the side should let us switch to knots. We should be able to click it to minutes. Oh, that's so neat. Yeah, I love stuff like that. I don't know. I'm such a sucker for like those old LED things that we saw like in the 80s, even though this is actually a much, much older plane than that. So I'm going to swing this way. We got no autopilot or anything like that on board, which a little bit surprising, but again, this was not designed for that purpose, so why would it need any of those things? So we're coming up on that radial right there. I'm looking straight down between my legs there, just about going to hit it. Collins says we're about 6 nautical miles away, which does not surprise me in the slightest. I'm going to go ahead and execute kind of a nice, gentle left turn here. I'm going to go ahead and, I don't like that. I'm going to go ahead and let the nose come down, and I'm just going to let it kind of straighten out just a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, you'd have to feel it to know what I mean. But it's like I have to push, and then it like catches. I don't know. It's just, I've noticed this in some other MSFS flight simulator aircraft, so it might have nothing to do with this, or it's just the way the aircraft was actually designed. So I'm, like I said, not going to question anything about that. I'm just going to assume that's just kind of how that is. But it is a little weird. You can see I'm jamming on the little hat right there, trying to get this thing desperately trimmed down. But the trim is, I almost feel like I'm moving in slow motion for a second there. That's awesome. All right, give it a couple whacks of up trim. And we should be basically perfect. I'm going to let go. And now we're cruising. I immediately appreciate the fact that this aircraft just kind of goes. Like, I'm not having, like, fits with the controls at all or anything like that. I basically set it, and I almost felt like I was on rails for a second there. This thing just basically handled. I love the fact I can see underneath me, which is super awesome. If I were, like, an observation aircraft, I could just kind of peek my head out the window. And, of course, like I said, it's relatively simple to fly, which I think is pretty cool. One thing I'm not sure about is this thing seems to think that I'm turning, but according to this, I'm turning at 0 degrees per second. So, unfortunately, I think the guy behind me probably broke this, or more likely, I just missed a switch somewhere, which is probably something I did, again, completely on me, and you can blame me for that all you'd like to do. All right, ADF. I'm just blind, apparently. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, we do have an ADF. My bad. I just didn't see it. All right, looking around, see if we got any buttons. I see no ejection seats or anything like that. Now we'll be at our destination in just a few seconds. I'm going to go swing around this way. Again, this is an absolutely beautiful section of Italy. You got your Pompeii kind of over there and everything like that. And Vesuvius, literally you can't miss it. I mean, look at that thing. It's just like chilling. Like, so, come on, babe. I actually knew a couple of people who went up there in like a little 4x4. So basically go up the side and look inside of it. It's pretty cool. Of course, what did I do that day? I came down here where we have this amazing coastal road that basically goes along the edges here. This is the Amalfi Road, if you're curious. I think I did Positano and all that stuff kind of down that way. It was an amazing experience being in a giant bus with a bunch of people and people going 90 miles an hour on roads that if you made a mistake, you'd end up swimming, basically. It was incredible. All right, let's go ahead and put this aircraft a little bit through its paces. It is a military aircraft. It's supposed to be an acrobatic aircraft. So let's be mean, see what happens. We'll go ahead and now pull this thing into an... Oh! Ho-ho! Is anybody else seeing this? Oh my gosh. That was completely okay. All right. So it's a Ferrari. You have to be gentle with it, otherwise it gets grumpy at you. I'm sorry, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I did not expect that to happen. What I was doing, by the way, was trying to do everybody's favorite little barrel roll. So you basically pretend you're inside of a barrel. You pick a target off on the distance, and you basically just put that right in the same point in your canopy as you go around. You can see I picked that little spot on the coast there, and I'm just kind of doing one of those things. And apparently I pulled back too hard, and this thing tried to kill me dead. Good thing I think we are... That doesn't look like an ejection seat to me. Might be. It's a really nice ejection seat if it is. Okay, so that was dangerous. I did not like that at all. If we want to do a little bit more aerobatics here, let's go ahead and put this thing up to full throttle. Let's see what it does as far as accelerate. We're going to go ahead and do some negative G's here. This is one of the easiest ways to build up energy. But it actually, 0 G's is even better. There it is. 250. Perfect. Let's go ahead and pull it into a really basic loop here. Very curious to see if my attitude indicator tumbles. Any of you feeling a bit dizzy? So don't pull back too hard, otherwise it'll kill you dead. So we're going to pull the throttle all the way back at the bottom of the loop. Set out the speed brakes. And bring the speed brakes back in. Okay, that wasn't bad. I like that. Again, it's a military aerobatic aircraft. I still don't like that. I feel like that's a flight simulator thing. I think that's not the designer's fault. Now we're going to come down here. Again, you get to see these wonderful little coastal roads and see just how wonderfully sketchy they are. Actually, I think I know where that is. I'm not going to get my towns wrong, but like you have to see, look at this road. You have to kind of see it to believe it. It really is that scary looking. And these houses are way more colorful in the real world than we see here. Apparently, I'm going to crash. Give it a little tiny tug here. And we're going to swing around this way. And we're going to do some low altitude flying. Like I said, we'll take advantage of this thing. So yeah, you know exactly what I mean. Nice and easy. Come up this way. I'm appreciating it's, like I said, light, kind of carefree sort of handling here. I'm not having to do anything too excessive. And it is honking at me like crazy. Ah, my altitude alerter. There we go. Problem solved. Leave me alone. You know what? I'm going to even do myself one better here. Delightful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make my way up the coast, and I'll bring ourselves back. I'll go ahead and skip that part of the trip. All right, we've got ourselves in a pretty good spot, and I can see Lima, India, Romeo, November directly below us. Go ahead and do a nice tight military approach, and one of those Sierra Hotel things that I've always heard so many rumors about. Now, one of these approaches is actually super cool for those of you who have not tried it. It basically takes you out to sea and takes you over those mountains in order to kind of avoid where all the people are, to keep the noise down and everything like that. But this is actually a fairly faithful rendition about how I remember flying over Italy many, many years ago. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to lose all sorts of altitude, and we're going to come flipping around at high speed. Again, this is my first time flying this thing, so I'm not sure what's going to happen when I try to do some of this stuff. I'm just going to cross my finger it comes out okay here. We're going to go ahead and pop out that speed brake. Oh my gosh, that's a good speed brake. What on earth? Oh, so it dumps the flaps when you dump the speed brake. Oh. But the flaps are a separate switch. Okay, I don't shows again how little I actually understand about this aircraft. It's just a matter of checking it out. This is still making me crazy a little bit, but I'll deal with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the overhead brake. So we're going to come off. We're going to go and take a turn. And basically, we're going to do the entire traffic pattern in one extremely tight oval here. I think I need a little bit more trailing speed here. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to slow down in time. Looks pretty good. Come a little flat here. Down this way. And here. Send the gear down. We'll go ahead and trade speed brakes for flaps here. Come down some more. So go ahead and increase my speed. There's a little bunny there. Trail out the speed brakes just a little bit. And we're lined up for a landing. I've not done one of these in a very long time, especially with a brand new airplane, so it happens. Okay, whoa, floaty, floaty, floaty. But we'll see what happens. Again, I have no idea what speed you're supposed to be landing this thing at. Whee! Okay, that's different. That's different. Okay, 100 knots and we're still flying. 90 knots and we're still flying. Okay, we're gonna land. There it is. That's what we're waiting for. 80 knots. And Cessna speeds. Love it. All right, this is interesting. This is really cool. I can't wait to try this sucker out in VR. I'm not gonna do it in VR right now because if I did that, it'd make you guys pretty sick to your tummy because you're always shaking just a little bit. Let's go ahead and hold down on those brakes and see if this thing slows down and hurry, and it looks like it does. Now, the thing I'm most interested in is how bad was that on fuel? Again, that was not what I considered. Wow. That's not what I expected. Not what I expected. I expected it to be quite a bit higher. So that gives you an idea of it's kind of its range here. All right, so this is kind of a neat plane, and probably my favorite part of this plane, other than the fact it's like a little sports car, which is kind of neat, is this is only $10 on the marketplace over on Flight 7. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, it is definitely a bit different. And like I said, I cannot wait to try this thing out in VR and go, whoa, because I'm sure this thing is a lot smaller than it really looks. But other than that, enjoy.